The Crimson Empress, a tale of love and intrigue. The blood moon prophecy. The year was 1453, and Constantinople trembled as cannons thundered against its ancient walls. But in the lavish chambers of the Byzantine palace, Empress Theodora Paleologina stood before her mirror, unmoved by the chaos outside. Her reflection revealed a woman of extraordinary beauty, raven black hair cascading like silk down her shoulders, emerald eyes that could pierce souls, and lips the color of fresh blood that had earned her the whispered title, the Crimson Empress. "Your Majesty," her trembling advisor announced, "the Sultan's forces have breached the outer walls. We must flee." Theodora turned slowly, a mysterious smile playing on her lips. "Flee? My dear Marcus, you underestimate me. I have been preparing for this moment my entire life." She moved to her window, gazing at the approaching Ottoman army. "Send word to all my admirers. Tell them their empress has need of them." What Marcus didn't know, what no one knew, was that Theodora possessed a secret that had been passed down through generations of Byzantine empresses, the ability to bind men's hearts to her will through an ancient ritual involving moonlight, blood, and whispered promises. It wasn't magic, but something far more powerful, the perfect understanding of desire itself. He web of hearts. As night fell over the besieged city, 5 men made their way through secret passages to reach their beloved empress. Each believed he alone held her heart. First came Captain Alexios Kantakouzenos, the golden-haired commander of the palace guard. His devotion to Theodora had begun 3 years earlier when she had nursed him back to health after a battle wound. In the candlelit infirmary, she had whispered stories of ancient heroes while her fingers traced his scars, and he had fallen completely under her spell. Next arrived Father Maximos, the young and handsome priest whose faith had been shaken the moment Theodora confessed her sins to him in the shadowy confessional. Her voice, honeyed with false remorse, had described desires that haunted his dreams. He believed God had sent him to save her soul, never realizing she was conquering his. The third was Prince Dmitri of Wallachia, a vampire pale nobleman who had come to negotiate a marriage alliance but found himself ensnared by Theodora's midnight garden walks. She would speak of poetry and philosophy under the stars, her hand occasionally brushing his, until he forgot entirely about political marriages and dreamed only of her. Giovanni de Montefeltro, the Genoese merchant, was the fourth to arrive. His ships had brought her silks and spices from distant lands, but it was her keen interest in his travels, the way she would lean forward, eyes sparkling, as he described exotic ports, that had captured his merchant's heart. He showered her with gifts, each one earning him a smile that felt like the sun itself. Finally came the most dangerous visitor of all, Mehmet, a young Ottoman prince who had been sent months earlier as a hostage to ensure peace. Theodora had seen in his dark eyes the same hunger for power that burned within herself. Their conversations were games of wit and will, each trying to seduce the other's secrets while falling deeper into genuine fascination. Chapter 3, The Midnight Council. In her private chamber, lit by dozens of candles that cast dancing shadows on silk-draped walls, Theodora addressed her 5 devoted admirers. She wore a gown of deep crimson that seemed to flow like liquid fire around her form. "My beloved friends," she began, her voice carrying that hypnotic quality that had enslaved them all, "Constantinople faces its darkest hour. But I have a plan that will not only save our city but make us legends that history will never forget." She moved between them like a cat among mice, placing a gentle hand on each man's shoulder as she spoke. "The Sultan believes he conquers a dying empire, but he knows nothing of the true power that lies within these walls. Each of you will play a crucial role in my design." To Alexios, she whispered of glorious battles where his name would be sung by bards. To Father Maximos, she spoke of holy missions that would sanctify his soul. Prince Dmitri heard promises of kingdoms to rule, while Giovanni was offered trade routes that would make him richer than emperors. And to Mehmet, she revealed just enough truth to intrigue him, that she planned to turn conquest into alliance through means he couldn't yet imagine. But what none of them knew was that Theodora's true plan was far more audacious than mere survival. She intended to seduce the Sultan himself. The dance of seduction. When Sultan Mehmet II finally entered Constantinople 3 days later, he expected to find a broken city and a cowering empress. Instead, he found Theodora waiting for him in the Hagia Sophia, transformed into a vision that stole his breath. She had chosen her setting carefully. The ancient cathedral with its soaring dome and mysterious mosaics created an atmosphere of divine power. Theodora stood before the altar wearing a gown that blended Byzantine purple with Ottoman gold, her dark hair crowned with a diadem that caught the filtered light like captured stars. "Your Imperial Majesty," she said, her voice echoing in the vast space as she offered the slightest curtsy, enough to show respect, not enough to show submission. "I have been waiting for you." The Sultan, a man who had conquered cities and commanded armies, found himself struggling for words. This was not the tearful surrender he had expected. "You do not fear me, Empress." Theodora's emerald eyes met his without flinching. "Fear you? Why would I fear the man chosen by Allah to fulfill the prophecies? You are the conqueror foretold in the ancient texts, and I am the bridge between your future and the wisdom of ages past." She began to move toward him, each step calculated to showcase her grace. "I have studied your campaigns, Your Majesty. Your victories at Varna, your innovations in warfare, your vision of an empire that spans 2 continents. You are not merely a conqueror, you are a builder of worlds." The Sultan found himself drawn into conversation with this remarkable woman who spoke of military strategy and imperial administration with startling insight. Hours passed like minutes as they debated the governance of conquered territories and the integration of diverse peoples under one rule. Chapter 5, The Ultimate Gambit. As weeks turned to months, Theodora maintained her web of admirers while carefully cultivating her relationship with the Sultan. Her 5 devoted followers each believed they were helping her resist the Ottoman occupation, never realizing they were actually furthering her plan to secure her position in the new order. Captain Alexios provided intelligence about remaining Byzantine resistance movements. Father Maximos helped her understand the religious concerns of the Christian population. Prince Dmitry became her liaison with European courts. Giovanni managed the economic transition to Ottoman rule. And young Prince Mehmet, unaware his own father was falling under Theodora's influence, served as her window into Ottoman politics. The Sultan, meanwhile, found himself visiting Theodora's chambers with increasing frequency. Their conversations ranged from philosophy to poetry, from the administration of justice to the patronage of arts. She challenged his ideas while simultaneously supporting his vision of a cosmopolitan empire. In her presence, he felt not just like a conqueror, but like a true emperor of both East and West. One evening, as autumn painted Constantinople in shades of gold and crimson, the Sultan made his decision. "Theodora," he said, his voice unusually hesitant for a man who commanded half the world, "I wish you to become my wife." But Theodora's response revealed the depth of her strategy. "Your Majesty honors me beyond measure," she replied, her eyes glinting with triumph, "but I propose something even more valuable than marriage. Make me your partner in empire. Let Theodora Paleologina, last Empress of Byzantium, become Theodora Sultan, first Empress of a unified realm." He crimson-crowned. The wedding that followed was unlike anything the world had ever seen. Held in the same Hagia Sophia where Theodora had first met the Sultan, it blended Byzantine and Ottoman traditions in a ceremony that symbolized the merging of 2 worlds. Theodora wore a crown that combined the double-headed eagle of Byzantium with the crescent moon of the Ottomans, while her gown incorporated silk from China, pearls from the Persian Gulf, and gold thread spun in the workshops of Venice. She was no longer just beautiful, she was the living embodiment of imperial power. Her 5 former admirers watched from places of honor, each having found new purpose in the transformed empire. Captain Alexios became commander of the integrated palace guard. Father Maximos led efforts to bridge Christian and Muslim communities. Prince Dmitry served as ambassador to European courts. Giovanni established new trade networks that enriched the empire. And young Prince Mehmet, now stepbrother to the Empress, became one of the Sultan's most trusted generals. But the true masterstroke came during the ceremony itself. As Theodora and the Sultan exchanged vows, she revealed her final secret. The ancient ritual she had inherited wasn't about binding men's hearts through supernatural means, it was about understanding that true power came from making others believe their success was tied to hers. Epilogue. The legend lives years later, historians would struggle to explain how Constantinople's fall had transformed into Byzantium's rebirth. The Ottoman Empire, under the joint rule of Sultan Mehmet II and Empress Theodora, became a beacon of learning and tolerance that stretched from the Danube to the Euphrates. Theodora established academies where Christian and Muslim scholars worked side by side. She patronized artists who created new forms of beauty blending Eastern and Western traditions. Under her influence, the empire became not just a military power but a cultural force that would shape the Renaissance across Europe. But in the quiet moments of evening, when the empress walked through gardens that bloomed with flowers from every corner of the known world, those who knew her best could still see traces of that mysterious smile that had conquered hearts and empires alike. The Crimson Empress had achieved something no conqueror before her had managed. She had turned defeat into victory, ending into beginning, and romance into legend. Her story became whispered in courts from London to Delhi, inspiring queens and empresses for generations to come. And somewhere in the shadows of history, 5 men who had loved her smiled to know that they had played their parts in creating a legend that would never die. For Theodora Paleologina had proven that the greatest conquests are not won with swords, but with the understanding that every heart contains a dream, and the power to make those dreams seem possible is the greatest magic of all.